God is still saying something. Prophecy, prophecy, prophecy. When God's servant speaks forth, the wise listen. Deuteronomy 18 verse 22. God is still saying something.
During the Synagogue Church of All Nations live Sunday service, Prophet TB Joshua prophesied that a very heavy flood was going to occur in an Asian country. He said that residents there should be ready to carry their property as the rain was already warming up. These were his words.
I'm seeing a very big, heavy flood. I know the CNN will give the event a new name when it happens. There will be name given to it because it's a big time situation. There will be very, very serious rain. I'm seeing a big rain. This will happen in the Asia country, and it will carry a lot of houses, property, human beings. The rain is warming up. It's not just rain, but it is a spirit that comes from the sea, and it will carry property and a human being. Be very close now, very close, so that people can be prepared. People there should be ready to carry the necessary thing out of their house when it is started. So we are praying for God's mercy and God's favor. God loves us. Pray for the nation, this nation that will face this storm that will take over part of the city. So the Lord should rescue this country.
In confirmation of the prophetic message, in November 2013, Typhoon HaiYan crashed into the Asian nation, the Philippines, destroying houses, property, and human beings. Let us watch the report.
This is CNN Breaking News.
And welcome to CNN Newsroom. I'm Natalie Allen. Our top story, of course, is the storm that wrecked the Philippines. People there are struggling in the aftermath of Typhoon HaiYan, possibly the strongest storm to make landfall in recorded history. These are pictures from Tacloban City, which is believed to be one of the worst hit areas. The mayor there says it's entirely possible as many as 10,000 people have been killed in Leyte province alone. The governor of Leyte echoes that, citing reports from local governments across the province. The storm also left a path of devastation in other parts of the country. Electricity and phone lines are still out in many areas, and the true extent of damage is still unclear because we just haven't heard from all of those areas.
Authorities here are still trying to assess the scale of the damage after a super typhoon slammed into the Filipino coast on Friday. And the worst hit, according to reports so far, one of the worst hit areas was the provincial capital of Tacloban, where our own Andrew Stevens was on the ground during the storm and reported seeing a surge of water even coming into his own hotel room at a depth of more than a meter on the ground floor of his hotel room, and describing there scenes of looting as well as bodies in the streets of that city of roughly 220,000. Of course, that island of Leyte cut off largely by communications and no electricity as well as of this time.
Just brushing over these entire communities. That is what our reporters on the ground have been sharing. Now, in addition to that, we have entire communities cut off. Power lines are out. Communication networks are down. Food and water, much needed supplies can't get in because the roads are impassable due to all the debris and all the fallen trees. In addition to that, the airport in Tacloban City has extensive damage. And very alarmingly, we've heard these reports of looting, of lawlessness as desperate people on the ground try to put measures into their own hands and try to find whatever materials that they need. Now, we have 2 teams on the ground there. Occasionally, they've been able to get hold of satellite phones to call out and give us their stories, but remarkably, we were able to get a video report from our Paula Hancock there in Tacloban City. She filed this not long ago.
Loretta Isanan lost 3 of her daughters in a matter of seconds. The storm surge from Typhoon HaiYan tore them from her husband's arms. Aged 15, 13 and 8. Only 2 bodies have been found.
The only one is missing is my eldest daughter. I hope she's alive, and we're hoping that she's alive. And then she was already she was been dumping somewhere, but she's alive.
Baz Ramos became emotional as she remembers seeing bodies float past her home. She says she was on the roof to avoid the water. They are just some of the victims congregating at the Talcobam airstrip. Many have walked for hours to get their first food since the storm. It's become the military's staging area. A first aid centre is set up for cuts and bruises, but they can do little for a serious gash to the head.
I'm seeing a very big, heavy flood. I know the CNN will give the event a new name when it happens. There will be name given for it because it's a big time situation.
This is CNN.
Millions of people in the Philippines are devastated after Typhoon HaiYan pummeled 36 provinces. It may be the strongest storm to ever make a landfall in recorded history. One storm chaser caught Typhoon HaiYan's wrath on camera. James Reynolds shares his first-hand account of the power and destruction of HaiYan.
During the height of the storm, you know, the scream of the wind was deafening. We could hear just thunderous crashes of debris flying through the air. You know, at some points you could feel the whole hotel, which was made of solid concrete, shaking as some unknown object was just repeatedly crashing into the side of the hotel.
So we have storm surge starting to flood the ground floor of the hotel. Residents are evacuating up to the 2nd floor.
We had residents staying at the hotel on the ground floor, as you can see in the video, who were trapped. They were smashing windows in sheer desperation to try and get out of those hotel rooms, you know, in total fear of their lives.
Here.
I was riding out the storm with the CNN crew and Andrew Stevens and Tim Schwartz, and it was really put the cameras down. We've got to get out there and help these people, otherwise, you know, there's a possibility they could drown.
We're good, everyone.
It was a life-threatening situation for those people, and it was an incredibly dangerous situation. People are roaming the streets just dazed and confused. I just hope this gives them that. It's hard to describe in words, but I hope this just can give, you know, the viewers an understanding of what the situation is like there. It's desperate.
So we've got some looting going on at a drugstore there by the looks of it. People are starting to get pretty desperate, it would seem. Yeah, you can see we're just basically heading back to the hotel to meet Mark. This town is suffering very badly.
I've been through a lot of typhoons before. I've been through a lot of natural disasters before, and this just does not. It is incomparable. This is just off the scale in terms of just an event to witness, and the aftermath is honestly apocalyptic in Tacloban. It's a devastating situation.
Step into the future. Be the first to know. Find out what God has to say concerning your situation, your country, and the world.
God is still saying something, a compilation of prophecies concerning individuals, nations, and the world at large, together with their confirmations.
I'm saying flame. What is the meaning of that?
A prophet of God shall say that which he shall live to see accomplished.
That is why you will not see a prophet where there is a debate. We don't suggest. We talk with power.
In every situation, God has something to say. Find out what God has to say.
God is still saying something.